All right, all right. Welcome to Mount Palumbus Speaks on a beautiful Tuesday night in Colorado. The weather's starting to change on us, and I love it. I got the window open up right now. Got some nice, fresh, clean air rolling in. It's crisp, it's cool, and I'm here for it. We got a lot to go over tonight. Obviously, we're going to talk about plenty of Broncos here. We're going to talk about Bo Nix. There's a lot been said about Bo Nix and his footwork. So we're going to dive into that tonight. But before we get into it, want to go over just some news of the day type of stuff. And I'm going to start with Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson goes out there with the Steelers, gets his first start, and the Steelers were 4-2 without him. Mike Tomlin decides to make a risky move and switch over to Russell Wilson against the Jets in prime time, and it paid off. Mike Tomlin had been very clear throughout the season that he was not committing to Justin Fields. A lot of people were rolling their eyes at Mike Tomlin for making the decision to go to Russell Wilson, including myself, quite frankly, because Justin Fields had put that team in a position to be competing for playoffs and more, championship type of aspirations. And it's pretty unusual to make a change at quarterback when you've got a winning team. I do think that Justin Fields had a little bit of a fool's gold going on out there, and so I understood the temptation from Mike Tomlin. But if you go back and you listen to Mike Tomlin, it should have come to no surprise to anybody that Tomlin decided to go and make the move to Russ. Look, man, even when Justin Fields was playing good football, Tomlin refused to anoint him as the starter. When Justin was doing his best, when he was out there balling, quite frankly, for Justin Fields terms, I could say that loosely, balling. Every week that would go by, Tomlin was asked a question about Russell Wilson. Hey, we'll see what he looks like when he gets back into it. We got to get the rust knocked off this guy. Russ was named team captain for the Steelers. So I don't know why any of us were really surprised when Mike Tomlin made the move to go back to Russ. And you know what? I don't know how you guys felt. I actually felt really happy for Russ that he went out there and played good football. He was a little bit rusty at the beginning, but he looked really sharp as the game went on there. And I found myself feeling happy for the dude. Look, I'm glad that Russ is no longer the Broncos quarterback. Believe me, I am. Nothing changes there. I think we all had so much Russell Wilson fatigue that it almost got to the point where you disliked the man, which was probably not fair because what did Russ ever do to anybody? But there's so many cliches and coach speak. And quite frankly, every time he spoke into a microphone, it sounded like diarrhea of the mouth. I mean, there was only so many Russell Wilson cliches that you could hear before it just exhausted you. And so we all got exhausted by Russ. And I don't know how you guys felt, but watching him go out there, I think America loves a fall from grace and America loves a redemption story. Last year for Russ and the year before, it was the fall from grace. And this year, well, it's one game, but it's a redemption story. So kind of fun to see Russ go out there and do his deal, man. He was 16 of 29, threw for 264 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. And the Steelers are going to be a team that you do not want to see in the playoffs. They've got an identity that the Broncos need to replicate. They've got a great defense, which the Broncos have great defense. They have mediocre quarterback play, and they've got a hell of a running game. Sounds like a formula that the Broncos should try to replicate to me. Broncos did that in their last game against the Saints. Hell of a defensive performance, hell of a running game, and that was helped in large part due to Bo Nix's feet, his athleticism. Bo ran for, he had 10 attempts for 75 yards, which in the big picture, I don't want to see my quarterback running the football 10 times. Maybe dial that back to 5 or 6, and that's more sustainable. You just got too much invested in your quarterback to want to put him out there in harm's way all too often. But before I dive into, I'm kind of jumping ahead here, jumping into the Bo Nix stuff. I'm going to circle back to that. A few more just newsworthy stories to go over with you guys. There are some rumors floating out there today about a potential Matthew Stafford for Sam Darnold trade to the Vikings. Not sure how much I buy it, but if you really think about it, it's not as crazy as it sounds. Uh, Dove Kleeman, whatever that dude's name is, he put that out there today that those two teams are in discussions for trades of their quarterback. And on the surface, it feels like, well, hold on. Why would either team want to do that? Matthew Stafford's a baller. Sam Darnold is technically unqualified. He's technically not qualified to be comeback player of the year because that's supposed to go to somebody with an injury or an off the field issue that you're bouncing back from. But he really is like the comeback player of the year in the NFL right now. Got the Vikings playing fantastic football. So why would either one of those two teams be interested in trading their quarterbacks? Well, if you're Minnesota, you're looking at things like, hey, this is the year. If there was ever a year that Minnesota was going to make a run at it, this year they got things clicking. It's crazy to me that they're doing it without Kirk Cousins, because Kirk Cousins to me is the most underrated quarterback in NFL history, and that's not hyperbole. I actually legitimately believe that. Kirk Cousins is the most underrated quarterback in NFL history, and he's turning around that Atlanta Falcons franchise. But the Vikings are doing great without him. They did lose to the Lions 31-29 in what turned out to be a shootout, but they've been playing great football, beat the Jets 23-17, beat the Packers 31-29, go down the list. They've been playing great, even beat the San Francisco 49ers. So why would they be interested in trading Sam Darnold? Well, Matthew Stafford's better. Is it that complicated? Matthew Stafford is an elite quarterback. He is not playing like an elite quarterback this year. The stats would not necessarily say that. But if you think that Matthew Stafford still has life in him, it really would be what the Rams did 4 or 5 years ago when they won the Super Bowl. The Vikings would be doing the exact same thing. They would be going all in on one season, foregoing the future for now, for the immediate, when they feel like they've got a window. And then from the Rams' perspective, they're paying Matthew Stafford 40-some million dollars, give or take. Sam Darnold is currently making $10 million, a 1-year, $10 million deal. Well, the going rate for a starting quarterback in the NFL right now, $50 million. That's just what it is. If you're going to give a new quarterback a contract, it's 50 million. 50. 50. That's how much it is. But there is this kind of weird little tier of non-elite quarterbacks, like the Baker Mayfields of the world, the Geno Smiths of the world. And the going rate for those quarterbacks, probably 30-ish, 30 to $35 million. So the Rams could be looking at it like, all right, we're going to dump off Matthew Stafford, who's only got a year or two of good football left in him. We're going to bring in another high-quality quarterback that we respect, and we might be able to get him locked up in that $30 million range rather than the $50 million range. It would be a hell of a move for the Vikings. I don't think it makes a whole lot of sense, because do you really want to forego the future for right now when you've got a quarterback in Sam Darnold that's playing dang good football? And oh, by the way, you got JJ McCarthy behind him, who's injured right now, but who is definitely the quarterback of the future. That actually might make it more appealing for the Vikings, though, because they might be looking at Matthew Stafford like, actually, this is perfect. You got 2 years of good football left in you, and they want JJ McCarthy to sit there and marinate and learn. It's kind of the model that the NFL is going to right now. There are a handful of teams that are saying, forget putting these young quarterbacks out there on the field right away. We actually want our young quarterback to sit and marinate and learn, do the Jordan Love. Michael Penix out there in Atlanta. JJ McCarthy, that's what Sam Darnold was brought in for. Drake May got tossed out onto the field, but the Patriots were trying to do that with Drake May as well. So just something to keep your eye on. Dove Kleeman is not the most reliable source in the world. Matter of fact, he doesn't have his own sources. He's a news aggregator. He's like Pro Football Talk, Pro Football Talk doesn't really write their own articles. They just repurpose other people's articles. That's what Dove does on Twitter. He just repurposes other people's information. So he's far from a reliable source. But that rumor picked up a lot of traction in NFL spheres today. And so I figured I would address it. I wouldn't do it if I were the Vikings, but I would definitely do it if I were the Rams. If I'm the Rams, hey, man, it's time to rebuild. Let's get younger. Let's get cheaper. And you'd have a pretty good quarterback in-house. All right, get off my lawn time. Time to get off my lawn, I know. How freaking soft is Joel Embiid? Seriously. I'm going squirrel here. I'm all over the place before I get back to Bo Nix. I'm sorry. But how freaking soft is Joel Embiid? I know this story is a few days old now, or maybe even a week or two old now. Joel Embiid saying that he does not see himself ever playing in a back-to-back game again the rest of his career. And his organization has got his back. They're like, yeah, nah, this dude, he doesn't need to play in back-to-backs. God dang it. How pathetic is the NBA these days? Clearly, the dude had got what he needed. He became MVP. He can't do that if he wants to continue to get awards in the future, because you can only miss so many games in the NBA and be an all-star or to be eligible for these awards. So he doesn't care about that. He got his MVP, and now he's going to pack it in and say, nah, the rest of my career, I'm not playing in back-to-back games. It's really pathetic, man. It does make you think about the little kids that buy tickets like 6 months in advance. The parents buy little Timmy his birthday present to go see Joel Embiid. It just so happened to be on a back-to-back game, and now he's no longer going to play in it. Joel is soft as hell. Nothing the Denver Nuggets fans don't know here. But he is pathetic. And thank God for Kevin Garnett. KG, that dude ain't playing no BS. KG's an old school son of a gun now, and I freaking loved what he had to say on his podcast with Paul Pierce. Here's what Kevin Garnett had to say about Joel Embiid.
82 games, man. This is what the fucking job calls for. You're not practicing. You're not even playing a whole fucking. You don't play in the summer. Right. I can say if you playing in the summer, you on the playground, you went to the Olympics, then it's training camp. Y'all do 30 days of fucking tour days. Okay, that's when you get rest. Man, I don't want to hear this shit, man. I don't want to hear none of this shit. Motherfucker can sit out a back-to-backs. Bro. Hey, listen, we done with that comparison of the era shit. We're going to respect this era and what it does, and that's it. Don't compare nobody and none of this shit, because you can't. If you ain't played... Man, listen.
I think that's going to hurt Philly.
That's going to hurt Philly from not even that. But, bro.
All right, that's enough. I'm going to pull that out there. That is audio that I cannot play on a radio show, but I can play on a podcast. So apologize about the curse words there if you got any children watching. But, hey, we are on the internet right now, and Kevin Garnett is flat out speaking truth. 64 games, it's what the job calls for. Grow up, Embiid. Grow up, Sixers. How about you make your dude earn his money? And you know what? There's going to be others that are going to follow suit. There's going to be other NBA stars that are going to follow suit. All right. I got my get off my lawn moment. I just, I really just had to play that because I brought up the whole Embiid situation because I saw that Garnett audio. Scott Hastings grabbed it for our radio show today on PhD, Palumbus, Hastings, and DMAC over there on Altitude 92.5. We had to play the edited version on the radio, but that was such good audio that I just had to bring it up. I know there's neither here nor there, and it has absolutely nothing to do with the Denver Broncos, but it is a societal deal, man, and it does feel like science and analytics has overtaken common sense in just about every single sport nowadays, and it's driving me nuts. All right, back to the Broncos. Bo Nix is doing one thing so well that you would say, okay, I will live with the rest. I will live with the embarrassing throw that Bo Nix throws between two wide open Broncos receivers and there's not a Saints defender in sight. I will live with that blooper reel. I will live with the other errant throws. I will live with Bo Nix getting out of the pocket a little bit too quickly because he's doing one thing so effectively that it does remind you of Josh Allen's rookie year. Bo Nix's athleticism right now is off the charts. He is running the football at such an effective rate right now that I'm okay with him turning down opportunities. I am. I'm okay with him trying to get out of the pocket here because his feet are flat out a weapon. And that's what Josh Allen did his rookie year when he was wild, he was inaccurate. A lot of Bills fans thought he was going to turn out to be a bust because his completion percentage was so low his rookie year. Well, his feet were so tremendous. He was such a red zone threat that you say, okay, we will buy our time for Josh Allen to figure it out. And that's what that's what Sean Payton is thinking with Bo Nix right now. And I think for Broncos fans that are fed up, that are frustrated, that it does have a Tim Tebow-like vibe, and there's no denying it. The games 100% have got a Tim Tebow vibe. Suck, first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, explode in the fourth quarter. How the hell did we pull that off? It's pretty much what the game's been like outside the Saints game where it was domination start to finish. And the Saints game really had nothing to do with Bo Nix's arm. The Saints game had everything to do with what the Broncos were able to do on the ground. Javonte Williams, 14 for 88, average 6.3 per. Bo Nix had 10 carries for 75. Jaleel had 4 for 35. Audric Estime had 5 for 29. And the Broncos were able to dominate the Saints because of a really good running game. I talked about Russell Wilson earlier. That's pretty fair comp for Bo Nix right now, especially early on in his career. Russell Wilson's formula for success in Seattle was pretty simple. There was nothing earth-shattering about it. Great defense, great running game. Limit Russell Wilson's throws. That's what the Steelers did. That's what the Broncos need to do with Bo Nix. And although I do not want Bo Nix carrying the ball 10 times, that's a lot. I wouldn't mind 5 to 7 per game with 3 of those designed. Maybe 4, he's getting out of the pocket, picking up a first down with his feet. I mean, if Bo Nix can convert third downs with his feet, what's the difference? You'll take it right now. So you live with it. And you say, okay, this guy's got to get better accuracy as the season goes on, as years go by. And what is causing those inaccuracies? Well, his footwork is. As good as his feet are athletically, his footwork in the pocket, boom, 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 boom. Happy feet. Bo Nix is Mr. Happy Feet in the pocket. When you got happy feet, it leads to inaccuracies. When you don't plant your feet in the ground, you don't get proper hip torque. There's a lot of things that go into it. Why does Bo Nix have happy feet? Because he's trying to get out of the pocket. So it's catch-22, right? I'm sitting here telling you I'm good with Bo Nix running the football because he's damn good at it. Yet at the same time, it is a part of the problem with Bo Nix's inaccuracies. Let me come back to the happy feet really quick. Mike Kliss just put out some stats on Twitter earlier today. Quarterback rushing stats over the last 2 weeks. Guess who's leading the NFL? Yep, Bo Nix. Bo Nix. I knew that dude was athletic coming out of college. I had no idea how athletic Bo Nix was. And you know what? Sean Payton didn't know either. Sean was talking about it today. He said that he's way more athletic on the field than he looked on film. And it's true. Here's the stats for the last 2 weeks from quarterbacks rushing the football. Bo Nix, 16 carries for 136 yards, averaging 8.5 per attempt. Lamar Jackson. Yeah, that's right. Bo Nix has more rushing yards in the last 2 weeks than Lamar Jackson, the greatest rushing quarterback in the history of the NFL. Lamar Jackson's got 20 carries for 92 yards, averaging 4.6 per. Now, his average is going to be way down from Bo Nix's because he has far more designed runs. Bo Nix is getting chunk yardage because it's coming off of scrambles. Lamar does that as well, but he has designed runs, and designed runs just don't go as far as scrambles do. Kyler Murray, 13 for 78. Daniel Jones, 16 for 76. Jaden Daniels, 9 for 72. The Denver Broncos have the leading rusher of all quarterbacks for the last 2 weeks. Now, let's come back to the happy feet. We know what's causing it. What's the solution? If the cause of the happy feet is that Bo Nix is looking to get out of the pocket, and he is, what's the solution? Well, right now, Bo Nix does not trust an NFL window with his wide receivers. He's used to college football. College football window, shoot, your wide receiver might have 5-6 yards of separation. Not in the NFL. An NFL window might be a yard. It might be the second dude gets out of a break with a guy draped over his shoulders. That's an NFL window. So Bo Nix is not trusting an NFL window, and Bo Nix is not trusting an NFL pocket. After watching all 22 against the Saints, the coaches film, I watched every single play, broke it down. You can go on my YouTube, links in my bio. I broke down the all 22, although I think there were some technical issues with some of the videos, so it might not have come out super clean. But after watching the all 22, there were some great pockets, man. Broncos had some great pockets for Bo Nix that Bo immediately was trying to get out of. And I mean, like, catch the ball. I'm sprinting out the back of the pocket, making Mike McGlinchey's life miserable because Mike McGlinchey thinks that I'm going to set up 7 yards deep. And all of a sudden, I'm 15 yards deep. I'm sprinting out over my right shoulder. And all of a sudden, his guy's almost getting a sack. There's pockets where the depth in college football. So here's how the pocket works in the NFL. Your guards and your center are responsible for the depth of the pocket. Okay. They cannot let their man get them pushed back because they're responsible for the depth. The tackles are responsible for the width. And in college football, Bo Nix might have 5 yards of spacing in terms of depth between him and his guards and centers because they're dominating, right? Well, in the NFL, you might have 2 yards. You might have 3 yards of depth. And there were some really clean pockets, some good-looking pockets that Bo Nix was just trying to get out of. So what's causing all of it? Look, man, it all adds up. It's all a part of the puzzle. Like one little puzzle piece adds up to an entire puzzle, right? And right now, it's a combination of things. Number one, the thing that Bo Nix is best at is his athleticism. Okay, let's not take that away from him. I don't know how much I want to encourage it because when you encourage it, it might prolong the issues that you're already having inside the pocket, but let's not take it away from him. What we really got to get Bo Nix to do is trust an NFL window. Trust the NFL throwing window so that when he drops back, that ball gets out on time. Timing passes. That's how you win in the NFL. You win with timing passes. Russell Wilson, not a timing passer. That's why he drove me insane. That's why he drove every offensive coordinator he ever had insane. I won't name names, but one of I know a lot of coaches that coached Russell Wilson. And when Russell Wilson was at his heyday and at the peak of his powers, his offensive coordinator told me the most frustrating most frustrating player that I've ever coached, because nothing happens the way I design it to happen. Now, that was part of Russell Wilson's magic, is that he scrambles around, he does a 360, he breaks 2 tackles, and he throws a 50-yard bomb. And that was the Russell Wilson magic, but nothing ever happened on schedule. And that's what I hope Bo Nix is not turned into, because we do have a Tebow vibe going on right now. He doesn't play with timing. He doesn't play with anticipation. That the pass on the first series that dropped between 2 Broncos receivers without a Saints defender in the area, that's going to be Bo Nix's Tim Tebow helicopter pass. You know, the helicopter pass that Tebow had in practice that lived on for the next 15 years and still circulates Twitter about once a month. That's what Bo Nix is going to have to live with now. He's got that going on in the early parts of the game because he doesn't trust a window. Sean Payton was asked about Bo Nix's footwork, and he said, "You've got to be careful you're not overcoaching it. There are things that Bo does well out of the pocket or climbing up. The times when he climbs the pocket or he's moving in the pocket, we're pretty smart about how much we say or how much we try to fix." Actually, I agree with that. I don't think you have to harp on Bo Nix's footwork. I think the footwork will calm down once Bo Nix trusts the pocket, once Bo Nix trusts an NFL window. So what Sean Payton needs to do with Bo Nix, timing. 3-step game, 5-step game, no hitch. Let's start getting that ball out on time. Let's start playing with some rhythm. Get some successful throws early in the game. You don't have to go for the home run balls. Everybody's complaining about Bo Nix not throwing the ball down the field. I'm okay with that. Because, matter of fact, he can make big enough plays with his feet that I'd rather just see him play with timing and go from 1st and 10 to 2nd and 7, 2nd and 7 to 3rd and 2 via the quick passing game. So all throughout practice, it's got to be timing. It's got to be windows. And I hope that Sean Payton and Davis Webb, his quarterback coach, I hope they're sitting there with that clicker when they're watching film and Bo Nix is climbing back. He hits the top of his steps, 5-step, boom, hit pause. Where are those receivers? Okay, Cortland Sutton's about to make the break on his dig route now. Throw the ball now. Bo Nix is a pretty good dig thrower. A dig is like a 15 to 18-yard crossing route. That's what that is. But if you go back and look at the dig routes that Bo Nix has thrown, and you'll see that ball's getting completed like at the logo, right? So like in the center of the field. Whereas that ball really should be completed right when Cortland Sutton gets out of his break, rather than 10 or 12 yards further as he's coming down the middle of the field on that crossing route. So hit pause every single time Bo Nix gets to the top of his steps. Show him where those receivers are. I'm sure he is being shown that. I know he is. I know he's got good coaching. I know Sean Payton likes to play with timing and tempo. Just look what he did with Drew Brees. Drew Brees was a short quarterback. How do short quarterbacks survive? By playing on schedule, getting the ball out of their hands before the defenders get in their face. So Sean Payton knows how to play with timing, and I'm sure they're harping on him. I'm not super fired up about Bo Nix because the throwing has been really bad. The passing has been really bad. It has. And although there's been a handful of deep balls that he has almost connected on, and quite frankly, the receivers probably should have caught, the rest of it is so off schedule that although his feet are really good, his athleticism is, I keep saying his feet, I should say his athleticism, because when people hear feet, they hear footwork. His footwork is terrible. His athleticism is great. You live with it and you say, right now, how important is winning ball games versus the development of Bo Nix as a passer? If the number one priority is to win football games this year, to try to make the playoffs, well, then you let him run as much as he wants to run. But if the number one priority is the development of Bo Nix as a passer, because we know he can run, then maybe you say, all right, you know what? I don't need you to run the ball 10 times for 75 yards. How about you run the ball 5 times for 20 yards? Just pick up a handful of first downs here and there and really focus on the passing game. That's probably going to come with some bumps and some hurdles, and it might not be pretty. And once you get into the season, especially where the Broncos are right now, they're in playoff mode. I mean, everything's right there in front of the Broncos. I see 4 games on the Broncos schedule that they absolutely should win. And then there's a couple that you say, all right, well, where are you going to find the others, right? To make the playoffs in the NFL with 17 games, you pretty much got to win 10 games. 9's kind of like that magic number that sometimes you'll get in, sometimes you don't. You want to guarantee you get into the playoffs, win 10 games. So you look at the Broncos schedule, they've got Panthers is a game that they should win. The Raiders, a game that they should win. The Browns, a game that they should win. The Colts, a game that they should win. That's 4 games right there. I mean, assuming they handle their business and they win all the games that they're supposed to, which they probably will not. Broncos have won 4 games right now. You win those 4, that puts you at 8. Okay, now you got to win 1 more to have a fighting chance, 2 more to more or less be guaranteed. Not winning the AFC West. That damn sure isn't happening. So if you handle those 4, that puts you at 8. Now you got to beat the Chargers. Okay, that probably puts you at 9. And then you got to pull out the 10th against somebody that you're not thinking you're going to beat. Whether that's the Ravens, the Chiefs, the Falcons, or the Bengals. Oh, but actually, as I sit here thinking about this, that last game of the year is against the Chiefs. Guess what the Chiefs will have no motivation for in that game? To win or play their starters. So that should be a very winnable game right there, actually. So there's actually five really winnable games for the Broncos on their schedule. And then you got to find 1 to sneak into the playoffs. So anyways, went off on a tangent there on the playoffs. But my point is, once you can taste the playoffs like that, now all of a sudden you're like, maybe we'll develop Bo Nix as a passer in the offseason. Because we actually really do want to win these games. So you let him run the ball. You let him run the ball a little bit more than you want to. If you ran the ball 10 times last week, let's dial it down to 7 or 8 in the next game, and then maybe 5 or 6. I'm definitely down for the zone reads because he had a couple really good zone reads, big gains, and he's a great weapon down there in the red zone, so let's utilize it. But we just got to put all the emphasis right now on developing Bo Nix as a passer because the dude was the most accurate passer in college football, and it definitely is not looking like it in the NFL. It's all right. The good news is that Josh Allen was terrible his rookie year. Definitely not calling Bo Nix Josh Allen or saying he's going to turn into Josh Allen, one of the elite quarterbacks in the NFL. Here's where Bo Nix is right now. His future is going to be somewhere between Justin Fields and Josh Allen. Athletic quarterbacks. One dude figured out how to throw the ball. The other one did not. The other one just got benched for Russell Wilson. Justin Fields is still a decent quarterback. He took the Steelers to 4 wins. So the style of football you can win with, but can you thrive with it? No. You can't thrive with the style of football that Bo Nix is playing right now. Got to get better in the passing game. All right, we're going to go over a few of the comments that are rolling in here. DeHuff, what up, my dude? I foresee Nix having his best game as a pro this Sunday. Why? I'd be curious. Oh, because it's the Panthers. I get it now, DeHuff. Yeah, I agree. He probably should. I think Bo shows signs that his basement is like Plummer level. Shoot. I think we take that. Jake Plummer is a hell of a quarterback now. One of Mike Shanahan's biggest regrets, I bet, was benching Jake Plummer when he did. What's up from Pennsylvania? What up, my dude? Footwork can be fixed. Missing wide open receivers. Supercomputer. I believe in Bo, but he needs to relax. Leaving the pocket too soon. Happy feet. Yeah, footwork can be fixed, but that is why he is missing receivers. It's footwork. It's hips. It's trusting a window. Is Bo on a traditional development path for a rookie, and we're just used to seeing guys like Stroud, Williams, Daniels succeed right out the gate? Well, you know what? Probably. I mean, if you wanted to compare Bo Nix to the average rookie, he's probably doing better than the average rookie. The problem is he's a first-round draft pick, and you got some first-round draft picks that are balling. Caleb Williams, looking like the dude the last couple of weeks. Jaden Daniels has been looking like the dude from day one. Drake May looked pretty good actually in the first game. I didn't see his second game. First game he lost, but he was dealing. And so Bo Nix is going to be compared to those guys. It doesn't matter that he was the 5th quarterback off the board. He's a first-round draft pick, and it's absolutely fair to expect him to perform at a similar level to all those guys. This was Sean Payton's selection. Sean Payton hand-selected Bo Nix because he thought he could be as good as Caleb Williams. Sounds crazy. Because he thought he could be as good as Jaden Daniels. If he didn't think that Bo Nix could win games against Caleb Williams, against Jaden Daniels, why would he select him? He selected Bo Nix because Sean Payton believes that this dude can win a championship. If he can win a championship, he has to beat dudes like Caleb Williams, like Jaden Daniels. So yeah, at some point, he's got to look better than those guys. Not as good. He has to look better. And we ain't there yet. All right, that's all for tonight, folks. Trust an NFL window. Trust an NFL pocket. Someone get it through to him. We'll talk to you guys soon. Mount Palumbus out.